Hey, you guys, we are David and Leslie Nunnery with Teach Them Diligently, and we have really missed being out and about and seeing you all this spring and summer.
Yeah, so we decided to do something a little different. This is not something that we've done. I'm not on camera very much, but we're actually taking a huge risk here, having me on.
He's taking a huge risk here.
Yes, that's right. And so we have decided that we're going to do Homeschool Family Bites. And so it's going to be about 10 minutes long. We're going to do it daily for about 100 days. And the point of this is just to have real quick, easy. We're going to pick a word every single day and we're going to talk about it. And we think it's going to be something that is going to help families. There's a lot of new homeschoolers out there. There's a lot of families that are dealing with, a lot of stresses involved with the pandemic and, everything
the
that's going on.
uncertainty and the anxiety and, just the fear. These are real emotions. And so we just want to kind of come alongside and maybe help you through it.
Yeah. So we just said we know that not everybody has a whole lot of time. So we wanted to do something like this, and it's going to be done live. So that's what I mean.
Bite size.
In bite size. That's right. And so it's going to, who knows? I mean, you may see our kids, you may see our dog jump in. That's okay. We'll just, you'll get it. This is real. This is real.
Exactly. So like you said, we're going to take one thought every day and just try to hopefully give you some practical insight, ways to stay focused on your mission and work through these things. So what is our one thought for today?
And this is going to be stuff that you're going to face. So we are not just picking stuff out of the air. This is not ivory tower kind of stuff. This is stuff that you're actually going to face on a daily basis. So the word today is attention. And you hear a lot of people talking about how expensive time is. And they're usually relating it to money. They're relating it to cars. They're relating to whatever stuff you might have. But the most expensive thing that they say is time. And I'm actually saying, yes, it's time, but attention. Your attention is really what is the most valuable. And a lot of us are dealing with all kinds of distractions. I mean, your attention is constantly taken away from you. There's a lot of times that we're having meetings or we're talking about Teach Them Diligently, or you and I want to go out on a date or whatever is going on, and we're getting phone calls from the kids. The kids are coming in here constantly. The dog is jumping up on our laps. An email comes in. A Facebook message happens. You have text messages. I mean, your attention is the most valuable thing you have, because a lot of times you have all these distractions. And what's happening is that your attention is being taken from you.
Yeah. And it's so easy. I mean, you see all the memes and all the jokes about, why am I here? What was I doing? And I live there all the time. I mean, I wander through the house. If I don't have a list or something, I'm wondering half the time, how did I get here and what am I doing?
Yeah. And, when we were early married, I actually kind of made fun of you for your list.
I know you did.
I was wrong.
Everyone now can hear it. He was wrong.
And so pretty soon, right? I mean, you get to the end of the day and you're distracted. You're jumping from thing to thing, and you haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah, that is so maddening. I mean, I'm sure it is for guys too, but for me, and for every other woman that I know, if we get to the end of the day and really can't see anything physical that we've accomplished, we can't see where we've gone, it all of a sudden, no matter how great the day was, how much time we spent with our kids, all that stuff, it was a bad day. And I hate that. I just hate that it has that much control over me.
So the idea here with attention is that you are always headed somewhere. And you are, there's always something. And the direction that you are headed is where your attention is. And so it is really important to have goals. And there are all kinds of goals. You have daily goals. You can have monthly goals. You can have 90-day goals. You can have, but you got to have goals. Yeah. You have to be actually intentionally heading somewhere. And that ends up taking control of your attention. And so you are directed and you are headed in this direction. And so everything that you are doing falls into where you want to head, and you are very focused on what you want to do and where you want to be. And I think that a lot of parents, they really miss this.
Yeah.
I was in sales for years and years and years, and I make it sound like I'm like 90 years old when I say that. But I was in sales for a long time, and we always had sales goals. You had monthly sales goals, and then you break that down to weekly. You'd even break that down to daily. And you had these goals, and it was very important. It was the way you were paid.
Yep.
You got commission based off of it. It determined whether or not you kept your job. If you missed your goals too many times, you weren't working there. And it was so important. And I often think, well, if you had goals for that, why wouldn't you have goals for parenting? Why wouldn't you have goals for homeschooling? Why wouldn't you have goals for other things that are extremely important to you? Goals for your marriage.
Right.
Why wouldn't you have goals for that?
And those goals, just even like you were alluding to my lists earlier, those micro goals that I set out in those lists, those actually helped my attention, helped me redeem the time, helped me make choices through the day on what was actually really important.
That's right.
And it helps you weed through those distractions, because all of a sudden, those things aren't nearly as big of a deal as I am going for this at this moment. And it really does keep you focused and direct, even when what you're going for may not seem earth-shattering. It
right.
may seem like a small thing, but it's important because you're shepherding the heart of your child, or you're dealing with something with them, or you're investing in your marriage, or whatever it is. You've got to be directed in the way that you attack these days, because God is so good to give us this time with our children, with our spouses, with our friends, however it is that you feel like you need to invest it. That attention, and to actually systemize how you approach him, is so big of a deal.
It gives you clarity. And so a lot of times it's when you see kids that are getting ready to line up to go somewhere, and you'll see a teacher, they'll stand and they'll grab that first child and say, okay, everybody line up behind this one child. And then you'll see all the kids kind of run, and they line up behind that child. They know what they need to do. They know what needs to happen next. It gives clarity to the process, because if the teacher didn't do that, Sunday school, kindergarten, whatever it might be, if the teacher didn't do that, it would be mass pandemonium constantly. And so you got to actually set that and go, okay, here's the beginning. Everything else line up behind this. And then you can actually move forward beyond that.
So how do you decide? How did they decide? How did we decide what we would be spending our attention on? What's really important enough to order our days around?
Well, I think that, and we're going to talk a lot more about goals. Even next week, we're talking about doing a goal challenge and actually laying out different levels of goals and how those work out. But you got to have that one big goal. And God actually gives you that one big goal. And he does it in Deuteronomy 6 when he talks about teach them diligently. And he gives you some direction on how that actually happens when you walk, when you lie down. And he gives you direction on what to do that. So unlike most people, right? If you're a Christian, you love the Lord, and you have kids, he's already given you what that number one goal needs to be.
Right.
And he's laid that out for you, and it relates back to the gospel.
But if you're going to be teaching your children diligently, and remember, he says, teach them diligently to love the Lord your God. First, though, he speaks to parents. You must love the Lord your God, and then you teach that to your children. So if that is what your mission is, you have to be present and attentive to them in the moments that you have. Because while you walk, while you talk, as you sit down, when you rise up, all of those times, it's so important that you're actually investing and present in every way. So all of those little dings on your phone, all of those really cool feeds that you just want to pour over, you have to keep those in their rightful place, because otherwise you'll spend all of your days chasing those little distractions from people that God didn't put in your home, instead of investing that time and your attention directly where he did put you.
All right. So the word of the day is attention. And as we were saying before, we want this to be really conversational. We want it to be helpful. I would say that if they had suggestions on words that they want us to go through, we may even be willing to do that.
Oh, no question. Please send us an email to office@teachthemdiligently.net if there's something specific.
Well, not just email, but we're going to plan on putting this on We're planning on putting this on Instagram. We're planning on putting it on YouTube. And so they can actually put this in the comments.
Yeah, just talk to us.
Yeah. And so we'd love to hear from you, and we hope this is helpful to you. And thank you for joining us.
That's right. And go be present and attentive with your kids and your spouse all day long.
Absolutely.
Bye.